What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome to True Raider Podcast. I'm your host, True Raider. Now, there's a lot of rumors going on around right now, man. I've been hearing a lot of content. I read a couple articles, and I want to jump right into it, man. I want to jump right into this because, Christian Wilkins. Rumors now swirling around that Christian Wilkins might need another surgery. And if Christian Wilkins ends up getting another surgery, I got to tell you guys, that is bad news for the 2025 season. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up, man. Sorry, on TikTok, man, I can't pull up the articles, but I'm going to pull it up here on YouTube, and we're going to go ahead and get into it. All right, so this is through Dice City Sports. This is about Christian Wilkins. It says, former Las Vegas Raiders general manager Tom Telesco made plenty of swings in free agency during his only season at the helm, with defensive tackle Christian Wilkins serving as his crown jewel. Wilkins signed with the Raiders on a 4-year, $110 million contract to give Max Crosby a proper running mate on the defensive line. However, those dreams went unfulfilled as a Jones fracture in his foot ended Wilkins' maiden season in Las Vegas after just 5 games. Since that time, updates on Wilkins' health have suggested a setback in his recovery, with the defensive tackle being in and out of walking boot all offseason and not participating in practices. However, a recent update has led fans to believe that Wilkins might need more time than anticipated. Is Wilkins in danger of missing the 2025 season altogether? According to Mitchell Renz of Chat Sports, which I'm sure many of you are probably familiar with. If you're not, go check my guy out. Mitchell Renz of Chat Sports Raiders report, Wilkins might need to have another surgery, resulting in him missing the entire 2025 season. Christian Wilkins needs another surgery and could be out the entire season, Renz said. I had a source reach out to me yesterday and unfortunately dropped this horrific news on my plate. Here's what I know as it stands right now, Renz continued. Wilkins does in fact need another surgery. I'm telling you that somebody that I trust told me yesterday that is a fact that Wilkins is going to have to undergo another surgery. Renz also added that Wilkins does not want to go back for another surgery, but the Raiders medical staff is advising him to get it in order to prevent damaging his foot further. If the reports are true and Wilkins does miss the 2025 season, it marks another frustrating turn for both him and the Raiders. While nothing can be confirmed until further information comes out, it is still a point of concern that the Raiders must keep in mind. Between the severity of Wilkins' injury and the possibility of being further removed from his last NFL action, it is unclear if the star defensive tackle can return to form when he returns. With this new update, Raiders fans can only hope that Renz's report is mere hyperbole. So the thing that gets me, man, is that, I watched plenty of Mitchell Renz on Chat Sports over the years, man, and the dude, he has ties inside the building. He definitely does tend to have some inside information, and sometimes he has some hot takes that kind of go nowhere. He makes a ton of content, and so when a person makes that much content, it's like sometimes, you're talking about just whatever's rumored or what's going on, right? But I've seen him be right a lot of the time. But one of the big things that gets me about this, and I'm going to pull up this next article real quick, is an article that came out in I pulled up the wrong one. No, maybe that is the right one. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, yeah, I pulled up the wrong one. Give me a second, guys. Show me over here. Okay, so this is from May 21st. And this is Raiders Wire. And it says, Update on the status of defensive tackle Christian Wilkins as Raiders take the field for OTA practice. Says recent reports have Christian Wilkins sporting a walking boot when going to and from the facility, and this is a month ago. This is a concerning development considering the Jones fracture he suffered in his left foot should have been healed up months ago. The next step in all this was to get a look at him in person, which the media was able to do Wednesday at OTA practice. The team held their first OTA practice Monday, but Wednesday's practice is the first time media was allowed to view it. Reports have Wilkins in attendance, which is a positive sign, but not participating in drills. This has been a difficult recovery, head coach Pete Carroll said after practice of Wilkins' injury. And he's done everything he needs to do. He's been here every day. He's here early, working hard. We're still working it. And he's not ready to get back out there. We're in the midst of a long, challenging process. Fortunately, there's a lot of time, and we're going to take every bit of it. We've tried to be really diligent about the way we work and the way we wanted it and all that. He's been on board the whole time, but it's been challenging. At this point, we can surmise, is that Wilkins suffered a setback in his rehabilitation from the injury, and being that the team is still just beginning the OTA phase, there is no reason to rush him back. He is also a valuable part of the defense this season, so it's important to proceed with caution to ensure he is completely healed and ready to go returning on the field. Now, so we've had kind of several articles that have been kind of pointing to the same thing, right? It's like this news just broke out that from Mitchell Wren saying that Raiders staff is saying that he needs to go in for another surgery. And then Christian Wilkins is not wanting to do surgery, and he'd rather just play through the pain, right? Then we have an article from a month ago that's saying that Christian Wilkins was in a boot for OTAs, and there was rumors about a setback going on for his Jones fracture on his foot. So then if we go all the way back to April, April 23rd, so this is 2 months ago, right? And this is Athlon Sports. And it says Raiders beat writer pushes back against troubling Christian Wilkins rumor. The Las Vegas Raiders were projected to have one of the best defensive line groups in the league last season, but injuries prevented this from becoming a reality. Star defensive end Max Crosby missed 5 games, and emerging edge rusher Malcolm Koonce missed the entire season with a torn ACL. Perhaps the biggest loss of the year was Christian Wilkins, whom the team handed a $110 million contract during free agency. He suffered a foot injury in Week 5 and spent the rest of the season on their injured reserve, but all signs indicated that he was going to be ready by Week 1 this year. This notion was called into question on Wednesday, this is in April, when Sportskeeda Tony Pauline reported that the Raiders were worried about Wilkins' injury status and that he may need another procedure done on his foot. The Las Vegas Review-Journal's Vincent Bonsignore responded by vehemently refuting this notion. Last I heard, he was fully on target with no issues, Bonsignore wrote. Something would have had to change significantly for this to be accurate. This is absolutely not something that's coming from the Raiders, he wrote in another post. Pauline's basic point was that the Raiders should draft Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham to fill the void left by Wilkins if his injury concerns are as bad as he had heard. Graham would be a solid selection for the silver and black, but as it stands right now, it would signal nothing about the health of Wilkins. So this has just been there's been layers to this, right? I'm not bueno in the building. Raiders, what's good? What's good? And Roy Acosta with the follow salute. Billy Davis over here, man. What's up, man? You over here on TikTok? You wanted to find out what's going on over on the TikTok, huh? You've been trying to find out over there. Billy Davis is always over here on YouTube, man. But there's a series of events that has happened. So hold up. Let's do a quick recap, you guys. So first, in April, Tony Pauline is saying, yo, there's something wrong with Christian Wilkins. We're seeing a setback. He might need another surgery, right? Then you move into May. Oh, and also Vincent Bosnior in April was saying, no. We haven't heard anything. Why would this be true, right? Rocket Guy, F my life. We know this will end up true. Malcolm Kuntz last season, Wilkins this year. Unfortunately, I think you're right, my guy. So then, after Vincent Bosnior was pushing back saying that we don't know about this, right? In May, during OTAs, there's all this hype about Christian Wilkins was spotted in a boot, which is not a good sign, right? It's not a good sign if you have your star defensive tackle after he was out for the majority of last year to be coming into OTAs with a boot, and they're talking about like, well, we don't want to rush things. Pete Carroll saying, it's a process. He's right on target, blah, da, 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 da. And then we get to yesterday when Mitchell Renz is the one who put it out saying it's looking like Christian Wilkins is going to have surgery. And damn, man, this whole thing about that the team wants him to have surgery and he's saying that he wants to play through it. I understand that, like, he doesn't want to miss years of his career, right? He wants the opportunity to get out there and play. I think that the Raiders franchise is looking at their investment saying if he goes out there and he plays on this injury and he really, really re-injures it bad, then we're in a spot where I think that they were saying a bone graft would have to happen, and this could be such a major setback that we might never, ever have a healthy Christian Wilkins on this roster. Now, if he goes through the surgery and the surgery goes well, the projected time is like 3 to 6 months, and basically he's going to be out for the whole year. I'd be surprised if he maybe got in towards the end of the season, but more than likely he'd be out for the entire 2025 season. Now, Rocket Guy, we wouldn't get cap space back if he's out on injury. And it's kind of concerning to me, right? And right now, since we have cap space, there's a couple of different decisions that could be made because as his contract is laid out, it's going to get more expensive as it goes. And I'm almost wondering, since we have the extra cap space, and I'm just putting this out there, if we were to have him have a bigger cap hit this season and then have him cost less next season, because really the way that this team is set up is, yes, we're going to have major improvement this year, and I think that we're going to be pushing to try to be on the cusp of playoff contention, right? But then next season is really when we're kind of more set up to be like, hey, we actually want to make a deep run, right? 2026, 2027, I think is when we're really going to see this come to fruition. And if we have a healthy Christian Wilkins at that time, it is definitely more ideal. It definitely puts us in a better position to actually win some games and succeed. But I get it why Christian Wilkins does not want to miss another season. It's a huge setback. I mean, NFL stands for not for long. You only get so many years before, these guys are done. And I'm sure that he wants to get out there as soon as possible so he can actually for one, enjoy his career and get some of that playing time. For two, retain some of his value, because when you start missing time, your best ability is your availability. You start missing time in the NFL, and then all of a sudden you start not really being worth nearly as much dollar wise, right? And I gotta say, man, I'm really upset because, last year we were supposed to have this just absolute monster of a defensive line. Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, Adam Butler, Malcolm Kuntz, with Tyree Wilson hopefully making that next jump. And I'm hearing some pretty good things about Tyree Wilson and how he's developing, and things are making more sense to him, and the game's slowing down for him. He's looking quicker off the snap, things like that, right? That dude out for season, not fake news. This is a real report. Go ahead and Google it yourself, man. It's definitely out there. This is not confirmed by the Raiders just yet. But, man, the way that things have gone over the last several years, we end up with these rumors, right? And then we're like, no, it's not going to be like that, da da da. And then all of a sudden we're like, shit, it is like that. So honestly, I think that this is actually going to be a thing, unless he makes the decision to go ahead and play through it, because in the report it did say that he would rather play through the pain instead of getting surgery, and that the Raiders camp wants him to get surgery instead. Joe C was good, man. We should have never gotten rid of Ngakoue. What I'm wondering, and actually I haven't, what ever happened to John Jenkins, man? Did John Jenkins sign somewhere? Because John Jenkins would have been pretty legit to have right now, I gotta say. Oh shit, he went to the Ravens? Is that facts? I mean, it's looking like Jenkins went to the Ravens, which that sucks, right? So I mean, if we look at the depth chart, I want to take a look into this real quick, because I mean, we got a couple of rookies, right? We got Tonka Hemingway, got JJ Pegues, which, okay, they're kind of a little bit later picks, and I don't really see them being that disruptive. We got Lecky Fotu, which, shout out to Oos. Let me see, who else do we got on here right now? Because I'm not really very confident that we have a solid replacement for him on our roster right now. Jonah Lalu, okay. I mean, so they're decent, right? But none of these guys are on that level of Christian Wilkins, and that's really going to be a major setback for this defensive line. Now, having a healthy Malcolm Kuntz is going to totally change things for us for sure. But man, to have a Christian Wilkins and Kuntz and Crosby's out there looking really good on his recovery from the surgery, Lakitasi also. And I know Tyree took some snaps on the inside, but I don't really think Tyree is that dude, man. Let's see, that dude. At least we got Adam Butler, though. Yeah, we do got Adam Butler. We did re-sign him. I'm very happy with. I'm very happy with the signing of Adam Butler. I like the dude. I think he brings good energy. I think that he works hard. But I don't think that there's really any free agent defensive tackles. I should have looked this up first, but I didn't. I just got home, man. We had a pretty exhausting day, and I was like, you know what, man? I need to talk about this Christian Wilkins thing, right? So, top free agents, defensive line, DeMarcus Walker, John Kaminsky, Jordan Phillips. You know, I don't know that we're really going to be looking outside of this roster too much, man. You know, Project Shield podcast, they moved Tassi to offensive guard. I didn't even see that, man. When did they do that? My 2 cents saying that's bullshit. You know, and I'm pissed off about this, man, because we signed him to a huge contract. And I thought something was weird that the Dolphins let him walk. You know, I really wasn't understanding, like, why would the Dolphins just let Christian Wilkins walk? Like, you know, I know that they're having some salary cap issues and stuff like that, but that's a player that you hold on to. And I'm wondering if they kind of knew that something was up, right? Like maybe some of the trainers were like, yo, like this dude is kind of having some issues, and maybe they had some foresight into that. But really, I don't know, man. Probably not. You know, probably not. It was probably had to do more with money than anything, to be completely honest, right? And speaking of like not really bringing people in from outside of the building, I gotta talk about this thing just because it keeps coming up, man. And he's on the thumbnail, and that would be Jalen Ramsey, right? Jalen Ramsey. There's a report that came out, and it's published yesterday. This is Pro Football Talk. It says, report, Jalen Ramsey prefers trade to the West Coast with Rams, Chargers as possibilities. The Rams have interest in a reunion with Jalen Ramsey, and the cornerback apparently does too. Adam Schefter of ESPN said Friday on the Pat McAfee show that Ramsey would like to go to the West Coast, to Los Angeles, Rams, Chargers, somewhere like that. The Dolphins have sought to trade Ramsey since early April, and he was expected to have a new home soon after June 1st. It hasn't happened yet. Schefter indicated a deal should happen before training camps begin roughly a month from now. Ramsey is scheduled to make a fully guaranteed $24.235 million in 2025, and it seems likely the Dolphins will have to pay some of it to facilitate the deal. So the thing is, man, is that, and we've talked about it here, but I do not believe that Pete Carroll is interested in going out and get a Jalen Ramsey. Would I like it? I would love that. I would absolutely love that. And my 2 cents saying he's tired of the Raiders picking up duds in free agency, you know, and we have a huge track record of that, right? Now, I know that Pete Carroll and John Spytek don't really have a track record of that, but the Raiders, we definitely have a track record of picking up these big name free agents or making these trades like Devontae Adams. And Devontae Adams played good here, don't get me wrong, but in the long run, that trade didn't really help us, did it? So if you look at free agents that come in here and we're thinking Marcus Peters is going to play his ass off, we're thinking Christian Wilkins is going to make this defensive line elite, you know, we get our hopes up and then we get crushed, man. And I feel like Jalen Ramsey could be another one of those that we're like, man, we got Jalen Ramsey, and then he comes out here and he's already old and he plays mid, and we're like, well, that wasn't really worth trading for. You know, it's a big contract plus, trade compensation, which probably isn't going to, it's probably not going to cost a lot. I mean, they've already agreed that he wants to be traded. They want to trade him. That means his value is crap. It'll probably go for a 5th round pick, honestly. And I would love to bring in a Jalen Ramsey, but I have a feeling that Pete Carroll is not going to do that. Pete Carroll has a track record of developing young corners. And I think that he's going to go with Stokes and Darian Porter and Jacorian Bennett, and I think he's going to take the guys that we already have on this roster and run with it. And the truth about it is, man, is that I don't think that we're going to do it. I do not think that we're going to do it. A lot of people right now are going, oh no, Jalen Ramsey is saying, that he wants to go to the West Coast. That means the Raiders. It's like, we're not really on the West Coast. We're close to the West Coast, but Vegas is not on the coast, man. We're not in Oakland anymore. So I don't know, man. With Matthew Stafford and Devontae Adams and all that's going on with the Rams, I could see him going over there. I definitely hope he doesn't go to the Chargers because I definitely don't want him to go to anybody that's in our division. It's crazy. It's nasty work, bro. So right now, dude, I don't see us making any big moves. I don't see us making any big splashes. I have a feeling that we're going to roll forward with mostly what's going on our roster right now. And it would be nice to see us bring in a defensive tackle, but we do have some depth there. I just don't think that we have like that big name guy that is going to do it. Let's see. Darth Jeff is saying we might go 11-6 or 10-7. I have us more in the 9-8 range. I honestly think that we could definitely be somewhere between 8 wins up to 11 wins. But, with Christian Wilkins being out, that one hurts. And really not being able to see what this offense truly looks like out there. We have the weapons, we have a way better coordinator. But, man, I don't know. It's hard to say, man. Last year, I was convinced that we were going to go 10-7, and I was absolutely, completely wrong about that. So I don't really have as much confidence going into the season. Now, I do like the changes that have been made. I love that, we got Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly for offensive coordinator, way better than Luke Getsy. Geno Smith, way better than Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew. I like Aiden O'Connell, but I don't think he's better than Geno Smith. I think the kid's got potential, but right now, in the here and now, he's not better than Geno Smith. And that's really about it, man. That's all I got for today. I just want to jump on with the nation because I've been slacking on my content, man. I think I went like a whole month without posting anything. There's been a lot of changes in my life, man. I'm just trying to get back in the groove of everything, man. So, you'll be seeing a lot more of me. You guys keep an eye out for me, like always. I love you, nation. I'll catch you on the next one.